Hello?
Good morning. How are you doing? Yeah,
Good morning, Ms. Burrell. Good morning, Dr. Ratan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ruffin.
Good morning.
But Greg, I think they also have for the legislature. Suppose they do work like 72 hours. It's supposed to be posted for 72 hours before they look at this.
Good morning. Please be advised that the Board of Trustees are participating in this regular board meeting, June 14th, 2021, in person and with teleconferencing. The meeting is being recorded and all actions will be taken by a roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD YouTube channel. If you are participating remotely, you will be permitted to share your comment by phone. Speakers will be placed on hold until it is their time to provide their comment to the board. Once the speaker is done, or the 3-minute speaker and or 20-minute agenda time item allotment is met, they will be disconnected from the call. Speakers may continue to observe the meeting on the YouTube channel. If you wish to make a comment in person, you will need to complete a speaker card and give it to staff or board secretary, wear a face covering, adhere to physical distancing protocol, and complete a brief COVID-19 screening, which includes having your temperature taken upon entering the room. We ask that you only stay at the meeting to provide your comment unless space is available. Space will be limited due to physical distancing and on a first come, first served basis. In-person comments will go first. Submissions must comply with the 3-minute time limit. A total time for public input on each agenda item will be limited to 20 minutes. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Comments received shall become part of the official record. I would like to ask board members to respond to the following questions as I call your name. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end? Ms. Burrell?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen? Absent right now. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
And Mrs. McGrady? Yes. Members of the public who would like to address the board on any closed session item on the agenda may do so now. Do we have any comments? Okay, thank you. There are no comments. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adjourn to consider and may act on any of the closed session matters listed in agenda item 15. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
That was Ms. Burrell, thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, there's discussion. Ms. McGrady, I would like to, I emailed back Dr. Vieira in regards to my request about item G. I also want to make it known for the record that if there's any discussion in regards to the Cook matter, that our attorney, John Harris, should be there to be able to represent us in that discussion. And I'm asking, will he be in that meeting?
No, he will not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Brown?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. McGrady? Ms. Nguyen is absent right now. Mr. Rush? And Ms. McGrady is a yes. So we're at, okay, so we will not be having closed session, but we will start again at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Welcome back. Mrs. Nguyen has arrived. We will now open our board meeting once again. Are you able to hear proceedings on your end? Ms. Burrell? Dr. Ruffin?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And Ms. Burrell? Ms. Nguyen?
Yes.
We already, Miss McGrady, we already took a vote on this.
No, I'm asking if you could hear, if you can hear me. We're not voting. I'm asking if you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, and I can hear. So Ms. Carell, were you able to get back on? Okay. I need a motion for us to be able to go to closed session. And have a motion. Ms. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyen. Any discussion?
Yes, this is the level of corruption that happens in the Antelope Valley Union High School District when we've already voted on this.
Thank you. Having a motion and a second, we'll now take a vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Carell? Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Rush? Ms. McGrady? Yes. So it passes by a vote of 1 no, 1 absent, and 3 yeses. We will now go to closed session. We'll reconvene at 10 a.m. We would like to reconvene our regular meeting of the Antelope Valley Union High School District Board. Good morning. Please be advised that the Board of Trustees are participating in this regular board meeting, June 14th, 2021, in person and with teleconferencing. The meeting is being recorded and all actions will be taken by a roll call vote. As noted on the agenda, anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD YouTube channel. If you are participating remotely, you will be permitted to share your comment by phone. Speakers will be placed on hold until it is their time to provide their comment to the board. Once the speaker is done or the 3-minute speaker and or 20-minute agenda item time allotment is met, it will be disconnected from the call. Speakers may continue to observe the meeting on the YouTube channel. If you wish to make a comment in person, you will need to complete a speaker card and give it to staff or board secretary. Wear a face covering, adhere to physical distancing protocol, and complete a brief COVID-19 screening, which includes having your temperature taken upon entering the room. We ask that you only stay at the meeting to provide your comment unless space is available. Space will be limited due to physical distancing and on a first come, first served basis. In-person comments will go first. Submissions must comply with the 3-minute time limit. A total time for public input on each agenda item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Comments received shall become part of the official record. I would like to ask board members to respond to the following questions as I call your name. Are you able to hear our proceedings on your end? Ms. Perrell?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Rush?
Yes.
Yes. And Ms. McGrady? Yes. We will now go to the flag salute. Now, Ms. Williams, would you lead us on the flag salute, please?
Push the right hand over your heart. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adjourn to the Pinko meeting. May I have a motion? Okay, that's Mr. Rush for the first, Ms. Nguyen for the second. Do we have any discussion? Having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Burrell?
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen? Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. So the item passes by a vote of 5-0. Do we have any public comments on Pinko? Okay, we'll skip right over that and go to the adoption. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the 21-22 budget as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. Second? Ms. Nguyen, thank you. Any discussion? Having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. The item passes by a vote of 5-0. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the authorization for appropriation transfers as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second? Thank you, Ms. Nguyen. Discussion? Hearing none and having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Perrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. The item passes by a vote of 5-0. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve and authorize the purchases outlined on the attached schedule. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyen. Any discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. We'll now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye, and I say aye, so the item passes with a vote of 5-0. We will now reconvene a regular meeting. We are at 6, the Allen Valley Schools Transportation Report. Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, just real quick, AVSTA is working on their bus routes for this.
Excuse me, Mrs. McGrady, did you do 5A, reconvene?
Yes. We reconvened our regular meeting. Mr. Hopkins, please continue.
Thank you. AVSTA is working on its bus routes for next year, as well as this summer, they're going to have 2 driver training classes to train new drivers for this upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board Officer Report, Ms. Nguyen.
Yes, I attended the May 24th LACSTA, Los Angeles County School Trustees Association. The first half of the meeting was voting on new officers for this next school year. President will be Cindy Wu, Vice President Robert Hidalgo, and Secretary Treasurer is a combined position, and Dr. Mike Lynn will be taking that. Directors will be announced. The voting on that had not finished by the end of our meeting. Speaker was Dr. Helen Morgan, superintendent from the Hawthorne School District. Topic was summer school. Dr. Morgan explained the summer school program that they have set up, which sounded really very interesting. As always, if anyone would like to complete or further report, they can get that. I'll have them with Rachel. I was not able to attend the May 25th Antelope Valley School Board Association meeting. I had oral surgery earlier in the day. I really thought I'd be able to make it, but pain got to me more than I thought. The sponsor for that meeting was Westside Union School District, Gina Rosso, superintendent, and it was at Joe Walker Middle School. The program topic was awareness of signs of human trafficking. Speaker was Sergeant Jeffrey Walker, Special Victims Bureau, LA Regional Human Trafficking Task Force. I do have additional comments. Since I was unable to attend this meeting, I do not have notes on the presentation. However, many board members who were in attendance called me to explain how they were embarrassed by the actions of a few people in attendance. Many were upset by the way Sergeant Walker was treated. I have to say, I'm the one that heard Sergeant Walker and Jill Forbes from LA County and Amber Davis from Saving Innocence, a nonprofit, and these people all deal with human trafficking. They did a presentation at the LACSTA meeting, at the March LACSTA meeting, and it was my hope that we could invite them to the Antelope Valley to address the issue to Antelope Valley School Board Association members. And I hope that Sergeant Walker was able to deliver the message. You know, I've always been proud of the progress and professionalism that the Antelope Valley School Board Association presents to the community and to the state of California. I personally apologize to Sergeant Walker for the way that he was treated at the meeting. This meeting had nothing to do with canceling the contract. It did, however, have everything to do with bringing the awareness of a very real problem to our community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nguyen. From AVTA, I believe we have Mr. James Somfield with us today. Bill, you may remove your mask if you'd like there. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me all right?
Good morning, board, cabinet, and all others here to support our district this morning. It is a pleasure to speak with you today on behalf of AVTA. Mr. Shai sends his best as he is unable to be present today, but has asked me as VP to stand in for him. We heard some encouraging things during the last board meeting and associated presentation. The budget situation is looking to be in a much firmer place than we would have thought just a year ago. Surpluses in the state budget translating to better funding for education, COLA increases, and other funding are all things that bode well for the district being financially competitive. And their compensation packages to state employees, allowing this district to attract some of the best teachers around in order to provide the best education possible for our students. Overall, this is definitely a better place than I think most of us would have seen us being just 1 year ago. Unfortunately, it was not all roses in regards to the budget discussion from the last meeting. Dr. Ruffin made reference to ongoing legal matters that, frankly, I thought were exactly the type of thing that is the reason the closed session exists. This shouldn't be shocking. She regularly chooses to ignore board and district policy regarding student and personnel complaints and procedures. Inappropriately attacking an open session with no notice given and no opportunity afforded for persons to defend themselves and be present to hear what is being said about them, as would be afforded by such policies. But somehow I'm still shocked at her utter disregard for the purposes of closed session and her continuing to put the district in further potential jeopardy by flouting such protocols and openly talking about pending legal issues in an effort to try and make herself look better politically. The message, however, is received loud and clear. She cares more about her image and political future than she does the financial well-being of our district and the students that it serves. I would love to ignore such behaviors, as we know that narcissists love to hear themselves speak and be spoken of. But the misinformation shared is dangerous, and to let it lie as such is a liability. Dr. Ruffin said that she heard from the community that $2.5 million are being offered on a lawsuit on what she refers to as the Cook matter, and that amount of money is only being offered because Cook is a friend, seemingly justifying such comments by saying that CIS, for those who may be unfamiliar with it, Self-Insured Schools of California, is only offering $5,000. Presumably, her point being that since CIS is not willing to pay as much, that clearly it is a friendly payout. Before I comment on this, as it has far-reaching consequences to our association members and students, I would like to qualify my comments by saying that the association has no more access to the actual information on this than anyone else who is not in closed session. While I very much doubt the veracity of this information, it is what was used and we have to work with. So assuming these numbers were accurate, although doubtful, would such a payout be because of friendship? Would CIS be willing to pay less money? Would CIS be willing to pay less money be a statement of non-liability for the district? CISC is an insurance that over 300 plus educational agencies pay into. It spreads out liability over many entities, similar to how car insurance works for many individuals who pay for policies. And similar to car insurance, there are things that it will not cover. If I decided that I didn't like my car, I cannot intentionally put a brick on the gas pedal and drive it off a cliff and expect my insurance company to pay for it. That would not be a covered claim. If what Dr. Ruffin is claiming is true, then undoubtedly CIS's unwillingness to pay on the claim translates to such a level of gross misconduct on the part of certain board members, including Dr. Ruffin, that the claim would be outside of their coverage. It is very similar to them putting a brake on the gas pedal and driving the relationship with Ms. Cook right off a cliff. This is exactly what we were afraid of when Dr. Ruffin, Ms. Perel, and Mr. Davis went after Ms. Cook. Blinded by vengeance and anger, drunken with power, they once again showed a complete disregard for rules, protocol, and procedure in taking their actions. If the chips fall where Dr. Ruffin is alluding they will, and CIS does not cover it, that means that the budget shared at the last meeting will be taking a massive hit in the general fund. The fund that would allow teachers to receive a raise after an all too taxing pandemic year of teaching. The fund that pays for COLA increases. The fund that purchases new textbooks and pays for facilities. The fund that makes everything happen for our students. Yes, this is of great concern to the association membership, and you better believe that we will remember the fallout of the situation that was created by some on this board in the next election as well. I wish this was all, and that I could rest my comments on this item alone, but alas, I cannot, because in the association, we love our students, all of our students. We do believe that we can do better, and we strive to each and every year. We believe the district can do better and appreciate the efforts it showed in facilitating improvement in areas identified for help. This summer, just as one example, the district is offering a training around the book, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. So many teachers responded with interest that it quickly filled up. Teachers care about all of their students and use their off time to reflectively improve their practice. Unfortunately, this is not echoed by some members of this board who continue to seek out ways to highlight, ostracize, and bully individual students in public forums. You should be ashamed of such conduct. Again, attacking former student board members at the first possible opportunity after they have moved on and aren't even present any longer to defend themselves is bullying. Claiming that a student who was elected not once but twice didn't deserve their position and only had it because they were afforded privilege by the color of their skin is wrong. Claiming that people in this district cannot lead it because their skin color doesn't match what you would like it to is wrong. Such race baiting is not the kind of progress this district needs. It is divisive, it is bullying, and should not be tolerated by elected board members. This is why you, Dr. Ruffin, have been featured in 55 articles in the newspaper, not because of the color of your skin, nor because of your gender. You are not the first African-American member of this board. You are not the first woman on this board. You are just the first to vote against funding for the food that provides school lunches. You are the first to vote against transfers of funds that save the district hundreds of thousands of dollars. You are the first to not accept real estate fees collected to be used for our schools, also costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You deflect and blame these articles on the color of your skin because that is the hot topic of the day. But it is just that, deflection on your dereliction of duties, your unwillingness to be fiscally sound in your decision-making for this district, your unwillingness to attend closed session and have accurate information on the lawsuits that you created, instead gathering information from a community who is also not present in closed session and likely has inaccurate information to begin with. The local paper is not out to get you for your skin color. It has plenty of wonderful articles about great local African-American women in education, just like my former teacher in my credential program. Just use the search tool and input the name Michelle Bowers, and you will see exactly what I'm referring to. It isn't your skin color that they are going after. It is you, because you are not being a good steward of this district. Do better by our students, do better by our staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stockdale, and I want to respond to this. This is my public notice of defamation of character that has been generated by yourself and your committee. I want the entire community to know that you were the head of the recall. So I'm not against me. A little bit over a year ago, that, might I say, failed. I'm very happy that you came to posture these positions, as from my understanding, over the weekend, you bullied one of the parents who came to the district to express their concerns. I think I'm not the bully here, and you're talking about matters that you don't understand, that you don't know.
Please stop.
So I'm going to say, please stop defaming me. I've sent in complaints to the civil grand jury. I have copied every last
Mr. Furno.
I have copied every last one of these chats to prove bullying on this board, and stop trying to censor me, Mrs. McGrady. And those are my representing the Antelope Valley AVTA.
Not your opportunity to speak. We would ask you to stop. We're asking you to stop.
Not come censor me. Thank
You to stop. Thank you. Moving forward, we are at G for
If I could just
CCA.
clarify quickly.
Sure.
protecting your friends, by the way, who you said in
The word that I need to be receiving, that she's legally serving me.
protecting your friends who you said.
Dr. Ruffin, if you are legally serving him, please do so.
I'm not going to stand allow myself to be defamed in this fashion when you just said in the public introduction that nobody can come into this space, whether they work in the Antelope Valley or not, and do such.
We'll be
I
back.
will not. And for the record, I want to put this on the record that when 3 board members leave the room altogether, they're having a secret Brown Act violation because this is a board meeting that they're holding. According to a previous council, all 3 board members could not leave the room and congeal together. Brown Act violation.
We are back in session. We are, if you're following along on the agenda, we are at Z from CSEA, Ms. Karen White. Ms. White?
Good morning, Board President, Ms. McGrady, board members, Dr. Vieira, Mr. Furlow, Ms. Orozco, and board cabinet. I can only express the excitement with tomorrow, June the 15th, and the reopening of California. Like you, so many of us have anxiously awaited to hear what limitations will be lifted from what we've endured this past year and a half. And with that, the possibility of our students returning to school in the manner that preceded the pandemic. We see and understand the need for the benefits for our students to return to campus. And we hope to see the beginning of this homecoming once summer school begins on July the 1st. July the 1st, that sounds so distant. but it's only 12 work days away. With everything that's befell our schools, it's a great relief to see such a healthy budget and forecast for the next 3 years. Thank you so much, Mr. Hawkins, for your hard work on this. I believe our efforts this past year with consistently working with our students, providing and extending services to our students and staff, besides the state and federal painstaking labors to extend additional funding to our schools, has helped to pull a previous prognosis into a workable progression. I hope everybody stays hydrated and safe during these triple-digit days that will descend upon us again today, and as they continue to wear out their welcome, as far as I'm concerned, for the remainder of the week. So please stay safe and cool during this hot weather. Last year, the district provided some of our summer workers the ability to wear shorts during this time, and we hope that that will be a repeatable opportunity as we move into such a dry and a hot summer. And even though our week has just begun, I hope you're looking forward to the weekend and the publication from the Valley Press called Graduate Profiles. I can hardly wait to see many of our high school graduates, their pictures and their profiles recognized in the paper on Sunday. And CSEA and I wish all of our gentlemen a very happy Father's Day. As I said before, you are the stable example for our families, our students, and the communities you serve. You're the rock we depend on and look to for support and guidance. You're always there for us, and we want you to know how much you mean to all of us. So enjoy your Father's Day, stay cool, and enjoy your special day. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Point. Moving forward, we are at E, public comments from the floor for agendized items. The public is invited to address the board on any agenda item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and the total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. In-person comments will go first. Are there any comments from the public on agendized items?
No comments for agendized.
So we move forward to non-agendized. So do we have any last?
One for
Okay.
non-agenda.
Let me read this then. The board is invited to address the board on any matter not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the board. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. During public comments, the board listens to concerns and issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. In-person comments will go first.
There's one comment from Mrs. Eskridge.
Thank you.
I'm rushing at this moment because the woman sitting behind me with James Stockdale ran up on me in this office here and videotaped me as I'm sitting there in the chair waiting for the meeting to start. So I'm changing the way I'm speaking. On June 9, 2020, at approximately 5 p.m., James Stockdale, a teacher employed by the Antelope Valley High School District, appeared unannounced and uninvited, pounding on my residence front door side window in a rude and loud tone, yelling out my name. I was alerted by family members as I answered the door, Stockdale is glaring angrily like he is now at me as he's saying loudly and roughly under his mask what sounded like to me, keep your black ass out of the boardroom. I then was startled and shocked, standing face to face as he proceeded to pull my screen door open, saying something like, "You're gonna take this," throwing something forcefully and hitting my person. As he's rushing away, we're coming out to see a black van across the street in front of my house. He goes to, as I was trying to get more description, I see someone appearing to be Anthony Hunt, another employee of the district, filming the incident. We're hearing people yelling and laughing as they rode off. I later learned that this was an envelope stuffed with paper. Shame on you. Although I did not sustain physical injuries from this unknown object, I did sustain infliction of emotional distress from the forceful velocity of him throwing it at me, which made contact with my person. The board has sat here ideally by enabling both these bullies and doing nothing to stop their harassment and retaliation of individuals who speak the truth. This is why teachers and parents do not, and students don't come to the district. I'm afraid to, again, I'm putting this board on notice today. Dr. Vieira, and including James Stockdale and Anthony Hunt, I'm putting you on notice today. Enough is enough. I am tired, and these people are bullying. Miss Wynn, I hope that you will take it to heart, as Miss Rufford has. Just because we have told the truth about this coach, DJ Hines, coming and saying things to these kids at school, calling them the N-word niggas. And I was there not to hear that. The kids came and told us parents these different things, but he treated them very badly. I attend mostly every game, and I watched him do a lot. And you know of students that are in this district suffering right now behind DJ Hines and this one here. And this one has the audacity to have brought himself to my home. And the rest of them, I am putting you on notice. I don't care what Bernal is saying about what's going on. This is true. This is fact. Enough is enough. But I'm going to stand here with my black ass, as you want to say, and look crazy coming to my home, where now my safety and my security, my family is being jeopardized. I hope that you hear me once again. I hope, Ms. Wendish, you take it to heart to feel something, because it's a lie what Mr. DJ Hines did. And people in here have seen what he just did. Now he just now said, same deal, just put a Stockton just put a notice in so he can now talk, because he's a dang liar and it's wrong. And I wish that you could feel something about these kids that have mental health problems. Some of them do, and I know for a fact. So you can hang me up now.
Before we move forward, I would like to read from what we read at the very beginning of the meeting. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Comments received shall become part of the official record. Thank you. Let's move forward.
Another request from Mr. Stockdale.
I'll keep it brief. I've said much of what I need to today, other than to say, if anybody is interested, there's a video of the exchange that's being told about. It's untrue. And if anyone would like to see it, just let me know and I'd be happy to share it with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments?
No further comment.
Okay, moving forward, we are at 7, educational services. Educational services adoption of 2021 LCAP for the Antelope Valley Union High School District. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. Second? Ms. Wynn, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and a vote. We will now, motion in a second. We will now vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Pearl?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
No. Ms. Wynn? Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. So by a vote of 3-2, it passes. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt a 2021-22 LCAP for the AV. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Wynn. A second? Mr. Rush, any discussion? Hearing none and having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Burrell?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Wynn?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes. And Ms. McGrady is a yes. So the item passes by a 3-2 vote. We are on C. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees receive the Desert Sands Public Charter High School Annual FCMAT report. I believe there's no action, so we move forward. Is there any comments?
That's correct. This is just for review and information.
Thank you very much. Okay, we are on D, educational services. This is a review of curriculum guide for Army JROTC Leadership Education and Training. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees receive the attached curriculum guide for review. And E, it is review curriculum guide, biology and community health. This also is a first reading discussion. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees receive the attached curriculum guide for review. On F, Educational Services review of curriculum guide, exploration of child and adolescent literature. Again, first read discussion. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees receive the attached curriculum guide for review. In G, Educational Services review of curriculum guide, emergency medical technician, first reading discussion. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees receive the attached curriculum guide for review. Pretty exciting classes. Thank you. Okay, we are now on H, Educational Services District-Wide Classroom Promethean Board Purchases, EDS for 2021-2022, 26 from Advanced Classroom Technologies. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase and installation of Promethean boards for the Antelope Valley Union High School District facilities through Advanced Classroom Technologies in the amount of not to exceed 1.5 million. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Nguyen. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. This is, I know that the district have been purchasing Promethean boards in the past. Does this bring every classroom up to date with the Promethean board?
Every classroom is already up to date with the most recent Promethean board. These are for common spaces and some additional lab spaces that are kind of itinerant labs.
Any further questions or discussion?
Can you guys speak into the mic? Because I'm not able to hear the discussion clearly. It sounds like you're having your private meeting. It's not, I can't hear it. And there's nothing wrong on my end.
Could you not hear Ms. Nguyen, or you couldn't hear?
I could not hear Ms. Nguyen or the response back.
I can repeat my question.
Okay.
My question was, I know that the district have been purchasing Promethean boards. Was just wondering if this brought every classroom in the district a Promethean board, or exactly what this purchase do? Mr. Neekan answered my question.
I answered.
So all classrooms already have Promethean boards. This is for additional boards in common spaces, labs, and NPRs and things of that nature that are used by multiple classrooms at one time or on a scheduled basis.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion?
I would like for this board to consider possibly extending some of these funds to other school sites that need repairs, like Palmdale High School, the outside area, painting that outside pavilion. I know we've already voted on this before about Promethean boards, but I would like for some of this wealth to be spread out to other schools' facilities.
Okay, any other comments? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. We'll take the vote. Ms. Burrell?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady is an aye, so the item passes by a vote of 4-1. We are on I, Educational Services. Approved grade 6 history social science textbooks adoption from SAVVAS EDS 2021-22-030. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the grade 6 history social science textbook adoption and purchase from SAVVAS as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
Ms. Nguyen, any discussion? Hearing none, having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Board, how do you vote? Ms. Burrell?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen? Aye. Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes, and Ms. McGrady is a yes, so the item passes by a vote of 4-1. We are on J, Educational Services. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the piggyback bid from National Association of State Procurement Officials, NASPO, for Converge One Incorporated, contract number MNWNC-108, 7-15-70-34-003 for purchasing of hardware and services and setting up Chromebooks and storage towers charging stations. May I have a motion? Ms. Rush, thank you. Second,
Second.
Ms. Nguyen, thank you. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none and having a motion and a second, we will now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes. Ms. McGreevy is a yes, so the item passes with a vote of 4-1. We are on K. Educational Services, approval of piggyback bid from California Multiple Award Schedule. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the piggyback bid from California Multiple Award Schedule for Converge One Incorporated, contract number 3-18-70-2486N for services and setting up Chromebooks and storage towers charging station. May I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Rush. A second?
I second.
Ms. Nguyen, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. And having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye. Ms. McGrady? Aye. This item passes by a vote of 5-0. We are on L. Educational Services District-wide Chromebook purchases, EVS 2021-22-032 from Converge One. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the Chromebooks purchased for Antelope Valley Union High School District facilities and students through Converge One Incorporated an amount of not to exceed $6.5 million. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
I second.
Ms. Nguyen, okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes. And Ms. McGrady is a yes by a vote. Item passes by a vote of 5-0. We are on 8. Business Services. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the 2021 budget as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
Ms. Nguyen, any discussion?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Hawkins and his team. The budget has gotten larger and larger over the years, and now that I'm back on the board, it just seems to almost have doubled in size, and I know it's a lot of work, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. We'll now take the vote. Mrs. Burrell, how do you vote?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Rush? Yes. And Ms. McGrady is a yes, so the item that passes by a vote of 3-2. We do have first. Adopt resolution number 2021-29, approval of the Education Protection Account EPA spending determination for fiscal year 2021-22. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2020-21-29 regarding the Education Protection Act spending determination for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
I second.
Ms. Nguyen, any discussion or comments?
Yes. Can Mr. Hawkins give some substance to other than what the statement says about the EPA account?
Yes, the EPA, that's the Education Protection Act. That was a act passed by the legislature about 6, maybe 7 years ago. And it has to do with some of the budgeting when they were identifying different budget sources for education. This specific one limits the spending of those dollars to certificated teachers. It specifically says that you cannot use the funding for administration. If you notice the attachment we have, excuse me, is showing that we are paying some of those funds and are not paying administrators.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none and having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Rush? Yes. Ms. McGrady? Yes. So the item passes by a vote of 5-0. We are on C. It is recommended resolution number 2020-21-30, authorizing interfund transfers of funds for fiscal year 2021-22 as presented. May I have a motion?
Move.
Ms. Nguyen, thank you. Second? Ms. Rush, thank you. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Perrell, how do you vote?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes, and Ms. McGrady, yes. So the item passes by a vote of 3-2. We will be able to transfer funds. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt resolution number 2020-21-31, authorizing temporary loan transfers between district funds for fiscal year 2021-22. May I have a motion? Ms. Rush, thank you. Second?
I second.
And thank you. I need any questions or discussion? Hearing none and having a motion and a second, we'll now take the vote. Ms. Burrell, how do you vote?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Rush? Yes, and Ms. McGrady is a yes. The item passes by a vote of 3-2. We are on E, if you're following along, to approve the year-end appropriation transfers. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve year-end appropriation transfers as presented. May I have a motion? Mr. Rush, thank you. Second?
I second.
Ms. Nguyen, thank you. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, having a motion and a second, we'll now vote. Ms. Pearl, how do you vote?
No.
No. Dr. Ruffin?
No.
No. Ms. Nguyen?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes. Ms. McGrady is a yes, so the item passes by a vote of 3-2. We are on A, approve items listed in the following consent agenda. We are at the consent agenda. Okay. The actions proposed for the consent agenda are items consistent with adopted policies and approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. The board will be asked to approve all of the items in the consent agenda by a single vote unless any member of the board asks that an item be removed from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the items listed in the following consent agenda categories: educational services, student services, personnel services, and business services as presented. May I have a motion to get it on the floor? Mr. Rush, thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyen. Okay, do we have any items that anyone would like to pull?
Yes. This is Dr. Ruffin. I would like to pull for vote and discussion 10H.
Which one?
10H as in Henry.
Okay, 10 each, thank you. Anything else? Okay, let's.
You know what, Miss McGrady, hold on one second. One second, I'm sorry. I think I have, I think I might have flagged the wrong one. There's one in here where the amount says 5,000 and then the other amount on the contract says 7,000.
You're not sure which one that was?
I'm just, I've got to look through all my tabs. Hold on one second. I thought it was 10J, but I just looked at the two numbers. And that's just for correction. It's one that says 5,000 and then the supporting document says 7,000. Hold on one second. have so many of these things tabbed off. You know, I don't want to keep our time, so I'm just going to abstain from this vote because I can't find the
Any others that any board member would like to pull or for discussion or vote? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. We'll vote. Ms. Brown, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Ruffin is abstaining. Is that correct?
yes, I'm going to abstain.
Words in your mouth. Okay, Ms. Wynn, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Rush? Aye, and Ms. McGrady is an aye, so the item passes by a vote of 4-0. So we go to after the consent agenda. Let's see where we are. We are from the board and the superintendent. Let's start with Ms. Perot.
I don't have anything at this time.
Dr. Ruffin?
Yes, I want to again give kudos to all of our graduates and parents for their efforts in the community. This was a tremendous summer last year, and for us to make it another year through the pandemic, just want to give a lot of credit to the parents. I have heard of several accidents in the community, and some young adults have lost their lives. I know that that was consistent with last year. So just really sending a lot of love to our seniors as they're transitioning to their next moves and their families. I also wanted to make recognition of Juneteenth that will be celebrated next weekend across the nation, paying credence to African Americans who were emancipated from slavery, but in Texas, they didn't know it until several years later. I also want to make a comment about me being muted when my opinions don't align. That is illegal and unethical, and I am looking into some recourse back on that. I also want this board to pay attention to, if they take some time and go back and look into the positioning of statements. We have people who are representing the Antelope Valley in some capacity, making very harsh statements about myself on this board, and that is a form of defamation. I've kept my mouth quiet about that far too long, and I am going to push back hard, because no matter if you work for this district, like McGrady said, or you make comments, it does not make them true, especially when those individuals were ahead of a negative recall against me. I also want to give some clarity to, it's our responsibility as board members to talk about policies, to implement policies that will benefit our students and their educational achievement. This is why I brought up issues last week in regards to our A through G requirements. If we're promoting a college-going culture, we should have a curriculum that gives all of our students access to A through G requirements so that they can fully be immersed into any educational setting, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year college. And when I talk about policies, I am not speaking to defame or to belittle or devalue any person in and of itself. I don't care who comes in here as our next student board member, even though that person has been announced, but I would hope that as a board, we would speak truth to power and talk about the truth of the ICC policy. Look it up. It's in there what it says. So this is no attack on any individual. It's just saying what the policy says. And speaking of those policies, I also want to bring it to fact. The very thing that just happened in this board room where 3 board members left out to have a secret meeting, that's a Brown Act violation. We were told that 2 years ago. So I just don't understand how rhetoric is okay and behavior is okay for certain people, but it wasn't okay when other people did it. So there needs to be some consistency in behaviors and implementation of those consequences therefore. And I hope everybody has a great week, and until our next board meeting, be safe, be well.
Thank you, Ms. Nguyen.
I have no comments.
Mr. Rush? I actually have some. First, I'd like to clear up some misinformation that we received last Wednesday and some prior board meetings. First, I'd like to say that for the record, information from closed session is confidential and should not be discussed. Secondly, information given by board member Ruffin was not accurate. She has chosen not to be in closed session, so she cannot speak to the ongoing litigation. Next, I'd like to talk about our last student board member was elected following the bylaws of the student organization that elects our students. I'd like to stress the fact that our student board members are elected by our students. He had the position both years of the sophomore and junior year in high school in line with ICC bylaws. In the first hour of his first meeting, Dr. Ruffin tried to have Mr. Johnson removed. She had some personal issue with his election. She stated that he could not be elected. She was wrong. The previous board majority treated our student presenters before the pandemic when we could meet in person with such disrespect and disdain that students did not want to present to us. Please go back and listen to some of those meetings. It's not pretty and it's not acceptable. Board members should not treat any of our students in this way. Students don't want to present for us. The former board majority treated our former student board member, Noah Spaven, in such a hateful way that students did not want to volunteer to sit on this board. They did not want to volunteer that abuse. The student board member was no longer a position that students aspired to achieve. Elijah Johnson, as a sophomore, stepped up to the plate to represent our students on this board, and he did so with honor and poise. He was elected by students and he is supported by students. Shame on you. You are still taking shots at him. He's no longer here. He is graduating early and is off to the university. Best wishes to him. With all of that said, we have a newly elected student board member coming soon. I implore you, find it in your heart to treat him as you would want your child treated. Treat him with the respect he deserves as an elected official by our students. Please stop the abuse of our student board members and our students. As we have moved back to in-person board meetings, students will start presenting in person once again. Let's create a safe place for our students to present. It's nerve-wracking enough for children to present to us without the fear that they will be laughed at, ridiculed, or disrespected in any way. Dr. Vieira, during the last year or so, you have repeatedly been accused of fraud. You've been called names and just generally vilified by a board member. A few months ago, we all heard the annual outside auditors report. Our district received the highest rating they did. There is no fraud. There was no fraud committed by our superintendent. I apologize to you, sir. I'm sorry you've had to endure the disrespect and the denigration of your good name and reputation that you have received these past few years. Please know the majority of this board, the majority of our workforce, our students, and our community not only stand with you, but they hold you in the highest regard. Please know you have the respect and admiration of the majority of all of us. And I apologize for the behavior and the words of the few. I would also like to remind you, Dr. Ruffin, that Dr. Vieira is the only employee of the board. I would ask you to use the procedures in place in our district when you have issues with our superintendent, rather than ranting at board meetings. Please handle it appropriately. Now, Dr. Ruffin, several meetings ago, you discussed the 2 meetings you missed last year and you gave your reasons for your absence. For transparency for the public, I'd like to follow up on that conversation. You did not attend a single closed session meeting in 2020. We had no quorum and were not able to do the business of the board in closed session for a year. You missed 5 of the 12 meetings from November 19th to the 21st. From March 12th on, we've met virtually up until the last few months. You missed the first virtual meeting, called in from anywhere. Since that time, we've met monthly virtually, and you were able to call anywhere from without posting your address. You missed the last two special meetings of the board this year, so attendance has been a problem somehow. As to the
Well,
investigation.
Ms. McGrady, if this is a discussion, first of all, those are lies because you caught me and it sounds like this is a question. I did not miss 5 board meetings. I missed 3. I missed one board meeting on 10/10 because I was sick. I missed another board meeting when SRO at my previous job was killed. That was 2. And the third board meeting that I missed was February the 14th. That's 3 board meetings. And you're correct. On all of those board meetings that I did not come to in closed session, I was still at the meeting. So just because I didn't go into closed session doesn't mean that and just because you are the president and spreading these lies, that doesn't make your comments true either. There's a process for me to communicate with the superintendent and send them to me so that I know that.
Interrupting our meeting.
You don't get to make lies about me either, ma'am.
You're out of order. I would ask you to stop talking.
Well, you're talking to me, so I'm supposed to respond. You're asking me questions. You just said, Dr. Ruffin, you asking me questions. And you're supposed to be my peer, so you don't get the right to judge me either.
Dr. Ruffin, please stop.
Mrs. McGraw.
The report of action taken in closed session. During closed session, the board held a conference with labor negotiator, Mr. Brett Neal, regarding a certificate bargaining unit, classified bargaining unit, and unrepresented group, and the board took no action. During closed session, the board considered a public employee discipline, dismissal, release, reassignment, non-reelect, and the board took no action. During closed session, the board considered a request to waive helpful living for 2 Antelope Valley Union High School District students. On a motion by John Rush, seconded by Benita Nguyen, the board approved the request at the following vote. Ms. Pearl was absent, Dr. Ruffin was absent, Ms. Nguyen voted yes, Mr. Rush voted yes, Mrs. Brady voted yes. The item passes by a vote of 3-0. During closed session, the board considered a compromise and release agreement, STS 2108. On a motion by Benita Nguyen, seconded by John Rush, the board approved the agreement by the following vote. Ms. Pearl was absent, Dr. Ruffin was absent, Ms. Nguyen voted yes, Mr. Rush voted yes, Mrs. Brady voted yes. The item passes by a vote of 3-0. F, the final compromise and release agreement, STS 21081. During closed session, the board considered final compromise and release agreements, STS 21-081. On a motion by John Rush, seconded by Benita Nguyen, the board approved this agreement by the following vote. Ms. Pearl was absent, Dr. Ruffin was absent, Ms. Nguyen voted yes, Mr. Rush voted yes, Mrs. Brady voted yes. The item passes by a vote of 3-0. In item H, in a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, 1 case. During closed session, the board considered 1 case of anticipated litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision G of the government code section. The board gave direction. And that concludes the closed session. So I think we need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Rush, a second? Second. Ms. Nguyen, any discussion?
Yes, what was the direction that you gave? You're not reporting out on that for item G in closed session.
The board took no action. Having a motion, any other comments or questions?
I didn't hear your response, Ms. McGrady. What did you say?
The board took no action.
I thought you said the board took no action or the board gave direction.
The board took no action.
Okay, great. So that it's on the record.
Any other questions or comments? Having a motion and a second, we'll now vote to adjourn. Ms. Burrell?
Aye.
Aye. Dr. Ruffin?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Nguyen? Aye. Aye. Mr. Rush? Yes. Ms. McGrady? Yes. But the item passes by a vote of 5-0. We will see you in July 14th. July 14th. Stay safe and have a good summer as cool as you can. Bye.